Good evening, everybody. I am Mike Draves, Assistant Superintendent of Berea City Schools, and I'll be serving as your host this evening and introducing all of our inductees. Welcome to the 2024 Distinguished Alumni, Staff Alumni Hall of Fame. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Mrs. Michelle George and our orchestra for the beautiful performance out in the lobby. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite everyone to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. First, I'd like to recognize any members of our school board that are in attendance. I know I've seen our board president, Anna Chapman, is here today, and also our vice president, Rick Mack. Please stand to be recognized. There are a lot of folks who helped make tonight happen. Our alumni steering committee that serves for both Berea High School and Mid-Park High School, and then for Berea City School District staff. If you are a member of our steering committee, would you please stand to be recognized for your hard work? It's a wonderful class that we are inducting this evening. If we have previous Hall of Famers in the audience, would you please stand and be recognized? At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our board president, Anna Chapman, with some opening remarks. Anna?
Good evening. Welcome and thank you for coming this evening. I bring greetings from your Board of Education. We're delighted to have you all here to share in recognizing outstanding members of our Berea City School District family into the Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame. Our district works to live up to our motto every day, a community of excellence, integrity, and purpose. Our vision speaks to our district being a diverse community, dedicated to inspiring lives of character, learning, leadership, and service. The people being honored tonight demonstrate these qualities well and have continued to make their alma maters and district proud long after they left the halls of our schools. Thank you to our honorees for being excellent examples for our students and community of what hard work, passion, and dedication in our careers and in service to others can accomplish. I hope you've enjoyed your time spent together tonight. Thank you and congratulations to all.
Thank you, Anna. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Superintendent of Berea City Schools, Mrs. Tracy Wheeler.
Good evening and welcome everyone to this year's Alumni Distinguished Hall of Fame event. I'm Tracy Wheeler, Superintendent of Schools, and this event is truly one of the highlights of our year, a time when we get to come together to honor the exceptional individuals who've walked the halls of our schools or have made a lasting impact of our community. Tonight, we celebrate not only the accomplishments of our distinguished alumni, but also the values that connect our community. Our district is guided by our Portrait of a Titan, a set of core competencies that define who we are and who we strive to become. These competencies, adaptable, empathetic, communicators, innovative, critical thinkers, and leaders, are reflected in tonight's honorees. These individuals being honored this evening have navigated challenges with adaptability, approached their communities and professions with empathy, communicated effectively to create change, lead with vision, innovate in their fields, and embrace critical thinking to solve complex problems. Their achievements are not just their own. They inspire the generations of students who follow in their footsteps. Our inductees tonight are shining examples of what happens when these values are lived out throughout life. They represent the best of the Berea City Schools, and they serve as a reminder to our current students that greatness is within their reach. This evening's not just about celebrating the past, it's about inspiring the future. Let us celebrate the stories and remember that each of us has a role in continuing the incredible legacy of the Berea City Schools. Congratulations to all of our inductees and your families for this significant recognition. Thank you and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Tracy. We're going to begin the induction ceremony. I will introduce each honoree, after which we will have the honoree come up and receive his or her plaque in front of the podium, actually probably in front of the Titan sign, so our photographer can capture the moment, and then the inductee or representative will give their induction speech. Our first honoree this evening from Mid-Park High School, Paul Angelo. Paul Angelo, class of 2002, embodies the Berea City School District's values of character, learning, leadership, and service. Upon leaving Northeast Ohio, Paul earned an appointment to the prestigious U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, where he continued to develop his passion for the study of history, government, and Spanish. In 2005, he was named a Rhodes Scholar and a Truman Scholar, which enabled his onward education at the University of Oxford and the University College London. Over the years, he has had an impressive and varied career in service to the U.S. Navy, taking him to places as far afield as Latin America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. In his affiliation with the U.S. State Department and the Council on Foreign Relations, the country's premier foreign policy think tank, permitted him to hone his expertise on U.S.-Latin American relations, resulting in the recent publication of his book, From Peril to Partnership, U.S. Security Assistance in the Bid to Stabilize Colombia and Mexico. Paul currently serves as a Foreign Area Officer in the U.S. Navy Reserve and as a Department of Defense civilian as the Director of William J. Perry Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies at the National Defense University. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Angelo.
Good evening. It is a privilege and an honor to be back at the place where it all began, the Berea City School District and Mid-Park High School, or is now known as Berea Mid-Park High School. I just flew in this week after, this morning, after a week of drinking Malbec and diplomatic engagement in Mendoza, Argentina, and never in a million years did I imagine that I'd be getting paid to do what I do on a daily basis, living out my passion day in, day out, when I was a student at Mid-Park, which I guess makes this homecoming from the far reaches of the Andes Mountains all the more fitting. But I've had to clarify more than once today that I am not here for my induction in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I'm sorry to those of you who are expecting Cher. I'm really delighted to see some of my mentors and early influences in my life here in the audience, not the least of whom is Miss Vicki Balzer, who, when I graduated from Mid-Park in 2002, handed me a book, Oh, the Places You'll Go, written by Dr. Seuss, his final book before his death. It wasn't clear to me then that my ninth grade English teacher and debate coach, the person who taught me to dream big, had a much better idea of what was in store for me than I did. In addition to Ms. Balzer, I want to thank my family, many of whom are also Mid-Park alums, my parents, Carmen, Sandy, Diane, my late stepfather, Mario, my late grandparents, my stepbrother, Preston, my partner, Ali, and the other aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends who are here in the audience today. Success, or my achievement of the academic and professional goals I set for myself, would never have been possible were it not for the values and work ethic that you instilled in me at home. You all had a role to play, but most especially my grandmother Liz, who did more than her fair share of complimentary Uber rides. She shuttled me from school to sports to debate to Key Club and to study sessions over the years, so thank you to all of you. I'd also like to recognize the profound influences of the many teachers who helped guide and mold me along the way, starting with my first grade teacher, Ms. Nalazak at Brook Park Memorial Elementary School, whose own interest in history, particularly the unimaginable cruelty of U.S. slavery, a weighty topic for a young and impressionable mind, helped foster in me a nascent passion for understanding human motivation. At Ford Middle School, Ms. Ridenauer, who's also here in the audience, continued to pull that intellectual thread in my brain from a literary perspective, encouraging me to embrace my inner skeptic, challenging everyone and questioning everything. And by the time I made it to Mid-Park in 1998, a foundation of good study habits and a well-honed academic curiosity that spanned the gamut of subjects allowed me to take full advantage of everything Mid-Park had to offer, especially its faculty. Mr. Wagner, for instance, taught me how to look at art across the ages and how to place myself in the masterpiece that was unfolding in front of me at the turn of a new century. Mr. Kozar taught me that wisdom is more than what you demonstrate on a test, but that preparing for tests is still important. Mr. McGregor taught me pride in the US government and in its institutions, no matter how honorably our politicians behave. Mr. Reinhardt taught me attention to detail as we worked element by element across the periodic table. Ms. Kopko taught me the difference between acute and being obtuse. Ms. Friedman taught me that it was more than okay to have a sense of adventure while learning, one that even took her to Oxford for a visit when I was studying there. Ms. Bartlett taught me how to argue, whether it was with her or with a body of literature. Ms. Skufka taught me that nothing is gained without taking risks. Mr. Pison taught me about the transformation of functions, both on the page and in real life, as he went from teacher to legend in our AP calculus class. Ms. McMullen, Mr. Graff, and Mr. Conti taught me how to look at the world in a new way, and importantly, how to frame my photos for social media posts. And Ms. Darrow, gosh, she taught me a lot, from skincare to color coordination, but what I most value was her insistence that academia, like life, is not a zero-sum game. There's always enough room for all of us to be successful. And of course, I reserve a special place in these remarks for the Spanish section at Mid-Park High School, Ms. St. Marie, Mrs. Pinter, Mr. DeSico, and Ms. Martin. No one let me get away with as much, or rather pushed me to take ownership for my own education, than those three teachers. And I am the person and the professional that I am today because of the passion for intercultural education that they helped cultivate. The immature high schooler that used to write El Rey Charlie Rojo Rico Suave Anglicismo Nacho Bomba Angelo on his every assignment that he turned in a Spanish class is today Dr. Commander Angelo. And that narrative arc began in earnest on a summer trip that Miss St. Marie made with me and a group of other students to Mexico in 2000, where in addition to eating chilaquiles verdes and scaling pre-Columbian ruins and studying Spanish, we watched a democratic transition unfold in the country. I knew from that point forward my life was no longer in Ohio, that my language was no longer only English, and that I could no longer turn a blind eye to the challenges confronting the world around me. I was committed to solving problems. And as a representative of the generation of students whose high school career was capped by tragedies in Columbine and New York and Washington, it didn't take long for me to realize that my path of problem solving was going to be one of public service to my community, to my government, to my country, and to the world. Oh, the places I've gone and the places I have yet to go. Thank you, Berea City School Districts and Mid-Park High School.
Well, that's a good start. Our next inductee, also from Mid-Park High School, Fred Bolden. Come on up. Fred Bolden's career in education has been marked by visionary leadership and a deep commitment to the student achievement and community engagement. As superintendent of Solon City Schools, Fred has overseen one of Ohio's top-performing districts, getting it to consistent academic excellence, with a career spanning multiple leadership roles, including principal, assistant superintendent, and director. Fred's focus has always been on creating equitable educational opportunities and fostering a collaborative environment among his staff, students, and community. His strategic leadership, dedication to innovation, and passion for education have left a profound and positive influence on the schools and communities he has served. Mr. Fred Bolden.
I feel unfortunate that I have to follow Dr. Angelo. As I was reading the biographies of all the individuals that were here today, the first thing I asked was, why me? But then the second thing I said was, I feel so honored to be among such incredible individuals that are being inducted today. When I was in high school, I never could have imagined that I would be standing up here receiving this award. It's truly an honor to be inducted into this Hall of Fame. And I have some thank yous that I want to share with everyone. First and foremost, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the committee for considering me for this prestigious recognition. Your dedication to honoring the achievements of Berea Mid-Park alumni is truly commendable. I want to thank all of the teachers who have been a part of my life's journey, both the good and the bad. Your examples, whether you encouraged me or challenged me, they were the prime motivation for me to pursue a career in education. You showed me that the profound impact that educators can have on shaping young minds and futures. I owe a special debt of gratitude to my father. The strong work ethic that he instilled in me has been the foundation of every success I've ever achieved. The lessons that he taught me in perseverance and dedication guided me throughout my career. It brings me great sorrow that you're not here to witness this moment, but this achievement is a testament to the values that you instilled in me, and I hope I have lived up to the example that you set. To the Board of Education, I want to thank you for having faith in a first-time superintendent to lead a district like Solon. Your trust and support have been invaluable, allowing me to grow as an educational leader and make a positive impact on our community. I'd also like to thank my treasurer, Tim Picana. I can't imagine a better friend to help me lead the Solon schools. You make a very difficult job significantly better. To my children, Ethan and MJ, I want to acknowledge the sacrifices you've made over my 30-year career. Your understanding and support during my late nights, my busy weekends, and times when work demanded my attention have not gone unnoticed. You've been my inspiration to create better educational opportunities for all kids. And finally, to my wife, words cannot express how much I owe you, Melissa. Every good thing in my adult life I owe to you. Your unwavering support, your patience, and your love have been an anchor through every challenge and triumph I've had. Being married to a superintendent is not easy, especially when you married a guy who told you, all I want to be is a fourth grade teacher. This achievement is as much yours as it is mine. As I accept this honor, I'm reminded of how far I've come from my days as a student at Mid-Park High School. I don't think this award is a recognition of just my achievements. I think it's a testament to the power of education and the impact of having a supportive community. Thank you all for this incredible honor, and I'm going to continue to strive to be worthy of it and to give back to the community that's given so much to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Our next inductee, if my memory serves me correctly, was actually in my very first government class when I started teaching at Berea High School, so I can't be that old, but Jason Cole, come on up. Major Jason Cole is a 1998 graduate of Berea High School. He is currently the Chief of Air Defense Operations for the Continental United States NORAD region and the 1st Air Force at Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida. Their mission is to defend our homeland, deter, detect, deny, and defeat threats to the United States, conduct security operation activities with allies and partners, and support civil authorities. Major Jason Cole.
Thanks, Mr. Graves. Mea culpa. I was going to start with a joke about not using ChatGPT for this speech, but after those two, I think I probably should have, so I apologize. This is not going to be the most inspiring speech to the majority of people here, but I hope it is for the people more responsible for this honor than I am. I wouldn't be here without my team. Nothing that I accomplish is done without a massive amount of support. Back when I was a student here, my schools, Fairwood, Rame, and Berea, are all gone. But the memories and life lessons that I learned there have carried me to this day. I had so many great coaches and teachers that were patient with me, needed to be patient with me, and believed in me. Just a few of them: Mr. Trussell, Mrs. Keller, Mrs. Yunkin, Mrs. Cesar, Ms. Sikorsky, Mr. Reynolds. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for their guidance and their belief in me. Berea schools were awesome 40 years ago when I started, and after the tour that I had today and the students I met, it is even better than it was then. It is so impressive. After Berea, I enlisted in the Air Force, and from the day I enlisted, I had great leadership. Sergeants Mason, Cavalier, and Cox, they taught me the Air Force core values of integrity, service, and excellence. And they also taught me the most important thing that I learned in my career, and that's how to take care of people, take care of your airmen. I've had amazing mentors, Colonels Campbell, Quigley, and Huck Smith, that have guided me and been role model for me throughout my career. Way too many peers to mention, but I will shout out my Homeland Defense team that we have down at Tyndall. They are the most talented and dedicated individuals that I've worked with in my career. I have many friends that I want to thank. They've been more like family to me over the years. The Hansons, the Mills, the Ellises, the Kings, the Wagners, Linda Kramer, Mariana Paris, thank you. Our paths may have diverged at times, but the impact that you had on me is so important. Most of all, none of what I do is possible without the support, guidance, and patience and love of family. My beautiful nieces, Caroline and Sandra, thank you for being so fun and always making me smile every time that I see you, which isn't often enough. Joyce, Clark, and John, thank you for all your care and love, and for most importantly, my dream girl of a wife. My brother Mike, my sisters Jen and Carrie, and their spouses Laura, Jim, and Paul, thank you for all your support over the years and for making the trip up from Knoxville and Columbus to be here. To my dad, who's been one of my biggest fans, thank you for all the memories, especially the ones where we went and saw the Buckeyes against the team up north. Hey, Coach. And for molding me into the man, husband, and father that I am today. My mom, my guardian angel for the last 28 years, 7 months, and 26 days. Not a day goes by that I don't feel your presence. To my sons, Alex and Carter, and my daughter, Tenley, I'm not just going to say thank you, even though I thank God for you every day. I'm going to challenge you. You are so talented and driven. Do better than me. Achieve more than me. Greatness is yours for the taking. And lastly, the captain of my team, the commander of my house, my wife, Heather. You're the greatest teammate a guy could ask for. It's not just that I couldn't do what I do without you. It's that I wouldn't want to. I love you, and thank you. Once a brave, always a brave. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Major Cole was talking today to one of the classes. Dr. Smithberger stopped in and he said he heard the kids ask him, because obviously Major Cole has the highest security clearance in the United States, does Area 51 really have aliens? Did you give him an answer? Our next inductee, Mr. Anthony Cilem, please come up. Anthony Cilem is one of America's most cherished living Americana artists. Anthony grew up with his parents and 7 siblings in Berea. Anthony's parents encouraged his enthusiasm for the arts. After graduating from Berea High School, Anthony attended the University of Akron and received his master's in education. He resides in Berea, Ohio with his wife Mary and their 5 children. Anthony creates storytelling paintings in his artful rendition of the primitive style. In his inspiring work, everyday scenes become idyllic settings. Anthony's inventiveness can be discovered in a multitude of details that together create the nostalgic feeling of a time where simple things and values were important. New England, Eastern Pennsylvania, and the rural settings of the Midwest remain an inspiration for many of Anthony's paintings. He has been recognized by several national art awards, and his art has been exhibited throughout the country. As an educator, Anthony has also been recognized for his dedication to his craft, winning both the North Royalton Crystal Starfish Award and the Crystal Apple Award from the Cleveland Plain Dealer. Mr. Anthony Cilem.
Well, I had a speech, and then I met the students today, and I kind of threw it away because I did the Chat GPT thing too. And then I figured maybe Cyril would come up here and do it for me, but he said no. The students had a lot of questions, and the first thing that comes out of their mouth, how much do I make? And I told them, money is good, but that's not everything. Make a difference, and money will come. Don't look at money as the only object. Then they asked me about the other inductees, and I said the one I knew the most was Dennis Kushlak, and I'm so happy to be up here today with him. I've known Dennis, it sounds better if I say a half a century or so, 50-some years. And I want to, then the students begin to ask me, do you have advice for us? And I said, yes. Do never offend God with your art, or your music, or your dance, or whatever you do. And don't offend your mother. Don't offend your wife. I would never offend my wife, Mary, nor your sisters. I said, don't offend people. Don't offend someone's religion. Don't offend someone's race, someone's culture. And I think they kind of were taken back about that. And then they said, do you have any other advice? I said, yes, have fun, enjoy it, and don't worry about money. That's the question kept coming to me, you know, this money thing. Don't worry about that. And then the one student asked, what's the greatest achievement I ever did? And I think he was thinking of art. And I said, it's my 5 kids. Thank you.
had an opportunity to see Anthony earlier today, and he's finishing up his 34th year in teaching, so thank you. Our next inductee is Mr. Dennis Kushlak. Please come on up. Dennis Kushlak has truly lived by the words of his high school alma mater that he has popularized, steadfast through eternity. A lifelong resident of the Berea area, Dennis has devoted himself to his community, his church, and numerous organizations with unwavering dedication. His commitment to Berea, and especially Berea High School, is well known throughout the area. I know that very well. Dennis has dedicated countless hours to promoting and preserving the spirit and legacy of Berea, becoming a pillar of this community. His passion for service and his deep-rooted connection to his alma mater have inspired generations, and his tireless efforts continue to leave a lasting impact on the city that he loves. Mr. Dennis Kushlak.
Well, I am truly blessed, and I thank God for this moment, a very special moment in time. Nearly 70 years ago, in practically this same GPS location, is when my love affair with Berea High began in Mr. Studebaker's shop class. A few of out there, I think, are still alive that remember Mr. Studebaker. I want to thank the association for selecting me for this award. I am honored by joining my sister Phyllis from the class of 1963, and a few of them are here today, and my classmate Jim Tedman on that list of distinguished Berea High alumni. While they, like so many tonight, achieved remarkable accomplishments on a national level, I chose to stay close to the mothership and chip in whenever I could, wherever I could, and whatever I could give. So it is very gratifying to me that you folks would deem me worthy for such a claim for what I might consider so little. I am proud to share this evening with my family. There were 17 of us here. Maybe you saw us get a team picture outside. They have supported all my efforts over the years. I'm sure my kids remember all those GCBCA activities and my St. Adelbert involvement when they were young kids. Now, these past 20 years has seen me working with the Berea High School Alumni Association, the Berea Historical Society, and my favorite group, and a few are here tonight, the class of 1959. Thank you for being lifelong friends of mine. We just held our 65th class reunion, and we're kind of still aglow from visiting with 32 of our classmates. And more than that, a couple in attendance here have been lifelong friends of mine for 76 years since we began our journey together at St. Adelbert's grade school. My greatest enabler is my beautiful wife, Mary. How fortunate I am to have had her patience and love these past 52 years. Few women, and I think my kids would attest to this, would put up the mess with the mess of paperwork I bring home. She calls me a pack rat, but I keep resisting and saying, I'm an archivist. And yes, I did give her permission to state in my obituary, in lieu of flowers, the family is accepting donations for the dumpster fund. She is such a comedian. 8 of my grandchildren are here tonight, and I want to thank them for their patience with Grandpa. He doesn't move around as much as he'd like to. But I'm still a busy guy, and I hope all you young ones know how proud Grandma and I are of you. And Grandma and I also think you have wonderful parents. A couple years ago, I spoke at the Grindstone Award dinner of taking care of my corner of the world. As I told you, I didn't leave Berea. And I challenged everyone else in the room to do the same thing, and we'd make our world a lot better place. Tonight, I'd like to leave you with a message that St. Paul delivered to the Romans over 2,000 years ago. I think it's still good advice. He admonished the Romans to honor Christ's sacrifice by becoming a living sacrifice themselves and focus on being useful to God in the lives of others. St. Paul says in Romans 12, verses 4 through 8, each of us has different gifts according to the grace given to each of us. If your gift is prophesying, then prophesy in accordance with your faith. If it is in teaching, then teach. If it is in serving, then serve. If it is in giving encouragement, then give encouragement. If it is in giving, then give generously. If it is to lead, then do it diligently. And if it is to show mercy, do it cheerfully. I think these are ideals that each of us should aspire to do with our lives. In closing, I wish the Spirit to be with all of you, and may your days be filled with holy moments. Good night, and God bless you all.
Can personally attest that Dennis certainly loves our community and our school district very, very deeply. He was the first person to call and have lunch with Tracy and I when we came in 2019 to talk about the district and the city, and great advice. I appreciate his friendship. Our next inductee we're now into staff alumni inductees. Our next inductee is Miss Mariana Paris. Mariana Paris dedicated 30 years of her life to Berea City School District, where her passion for education and community was evident in everything that she did. She found immense joy in working with students, always focusing on their growth and well-being, cherished the strong camaraderie she developed with her colleagues. The friendships she formed with staff over the years were invaluable, but it was the students who remained at the heart of everything that she did, whether it was through her various roles in the district or involvement in special programs. Mariana always believed that supporting and inspiring students was her true calling. Her contributions have left a lasting impact on many lives and Berea City School District. Miss Mariana Paris.
First of all, thank you to the Berea City School District for 30 great, fun years. I appreciate the time you gave me. I want to thank my mom. When college and I didn't get along so well, she told me they needed bus drivers and I would become a bus driver. So that summer, Leo, the head mechanic, taught me how to be a bus driver, and that fall I became a bus driver. Something that could never happen anymore. That started my time with the Verest City Schools. I appreciate Paul Winkle, Gordy Billman, Jack Seamuth, Bill Thompson, Julie Kalbrenner, Jeff Grossi, Tom Faskett, and Bob Sestolo for their guidance and education over the years. They were great administrators to work with. I appreciate the staff of the Verest City Schools. We had many fun times together, and we shared many outside events together. Thanks to my family, my friends, my American Legion buddies, my class of '81 buddies, and the lunch bunch, our Thursday lunch bunch, I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I am proud to join my sister, Barb Draves, as an alumni member. Congratulations to all of the other inductees. I'm proud to share the stage with you tonight.
I cannot remember who it was, if it was Mr. Yule or if it was Dale Habig, who told me my first year, Mike, you really have to understand that Gordy Billman's the principal, but Mariana runs the building. There's two people you got to know, the head secretary and the head custodian. Thank you, Mariana, for everything that you did for our kids and for my career too, specifically. Gary Pontel is our next inductee. Gary, are you here? Come on up. Gary Pontel's remarkable career in education and public service is a testament to his lifelong dedication to students, staff, and the communities that he served. With over 40 years spent in various leadership roles within Berea City School District, Gary has made a lasting impact on countless lives through his commitment to excellence in education and administration. His passion for fostering strong relationships, mentoring future leaders, and improving the educational system has defined his career, whether in the classroom, as a principal, or in his numerous roles as director of personnel. Gary's unwavering dedication to education and public service has shaped both the schools and the community in meaningful ways. Above all, Gary's love for his family has always been paramount, which has created a close-knit, loving family. Mr. Gary Pontel.
Wow, I didn't expect the, excuse me, I didn't expect a crowd quite as large as this. You know, when I was in high school, North Royalton, I had some outstanding teachers, particularly the history teachers. I loved it. So I made a decision. Went on to Bowling Green, decided that's my road. Graduated from Bowling Green, went to Reserve downtown. And then there was a time while I was at Reserve where from different schools were looking for teachers. And I had the great luck to be interviewed by the superintendent and personnel person. And I didn't want to go to any other places. I was so impressed with what they had to say about the Berea School District. I was hired by the district. My first Ford middle school at the time, social studies teacher. Then they opened up Middleburg Heights, and I was transferred there. Middleburg Heights at that time had an outstanding, and I say an outstanding, faculty. Couldn't have been to a better place. Time went on, and by the way, for many of you in here, the number of years that you've given to the Berea School District, mine was 40 years here in the Berea School District. I had a number of different positions. Always, I worked with people that were quality and cared about kids. That's all about we have, isn't it? Meant a number of years as personnel director. And that got me an opportunity to get into all the schools and to meet up with many of our faculty. And when I say faculty, I mean teachers, I mean counselors, custodial. That's a family in each of our schools that has a tremendous impact for kids. I've spent 40 years in our school district. When I decided after personnel that, well, that's enough for me. And then I got a call. We're looking for somebody to work with the department, the buses, transportation. I knew nothing about driving a bus, believe me. My wife wonders if I ever learned how to drive a car, but that's something else. Oh, and by the way, I'll take just a second. My wife is here. My two sons were here. And other relatives. That surprised me, that they'd spend time to us this evening. Time went by. But I grew a great, and still do, because I know that the quality that our kids are getting in this school district it's amazing. And you that are parents, and you were so fortunate to have your kids come to school in this school district, sometimes we don't appreciate what it is that is the Berea schools. I was very surprised when I had this opportunity. I've got a chance to meet people that I haven't seen for years, that you're out here in this audience. and I've loved you all, and I appreciate so much to be part of this family. I thank you.
Our next inductee is being inducted posthumously. Dave Trussell loved people, and he brought that love to his students, swimmers, fellow teachers and coaches, and the community. After 35 years of teaching, Dave continued his service as a dedicated Berea City School District board member from 2010 to 2017. He also kept busy as a volunteer and member at the Berea Historical Society, Berea Kiwanis, Grace Church, Baldwin Wallace Alumni Association, Coe Lake Nature Trail Committee, Berea High's Realize Your Potential, and Rain Middle School's Builders Club. Always a helpful neighbor, Dave could be found offering landscaping assistance and a kind word to anyone in need. Dave passed away in February 2022, and his daughter Julie Kadri will accept the award on his behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to present the plaque on behalf of Berea City School District to Mrs. Julie Kadri on behalf of Mr. Dave Trussell, a distinguished honorary alumnus, to be officially inducted to the Berea High School Hall of Fame.
Long speech. just kidding. Good evening. I'm here tonight with my husband Amir, my brothers Mark and Chris, my sister-in-law Morgan, our uncle Jim, and many of our dad's cherished friends and teaching partners. I've often heard that it takes a special person to teach middle school. Our dad certainly was. And he was not alone. He was blessed to work alongside colleagues, many of whom are here this evening, who encouraged each other and worked as a team to provide the best education for students. One of my favorite things about his career, especially because I also am a teacher, was that he spent the entire time, all those years, teaching in the classroom. The majority in middle school. Imagine. And Mr. Trussell didn't just teach. He taught passionately, with a positive attitude, every day. When he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, he used to squeeze chemotherapy in during his planning period. And when I took him to longer chemo sessions, we used rubrics to grade animal reports the entire time. I never heard him complain, except when he temporarily lost his taste for one of his great loves, coffee. It came back, though. We were in and out of the hospital at times, and he would run into former students who worked there. A nurse recognized him and told him, "You taught my son." And she was embarrassed to say her son's name and said, "He was probably one of your worst students." And Dad chuckled and said, "Oh my, he was so much fun." And the nurse's face lit up with a smile. She'd never heard that. In 1986, our dad was nominated as Berea City Schools candidate for the Ohio Teacher of the Year Award, and he composed this binder. In the first paragraph of his biographical sketch, he wrote, "The greatest influences on my decision to teach and on my beliefs and values in teaching have been my family and the people with whom I have been associated throughout my life, providing example and inspiration." He went on to describe his initial teaching effort at age 7 when his family moved to Berea. He said, My younger brother Jim was my student. Using my chalkboard, I taught Jim to read and write sight words. You, my, see, Tom. I played school often in my grade school years and dreamed of being a teacher. Talking tonight, Jim recounted, well, that's the reason why I write left-handed, because he was my teacher and he was left-handed. His nomination binder includes a variety of essays, letters of recommendation from students, colleagues, and parents, and photos. One picture shows him in the 5th grade, posing proudly next to his very own 2-drawer file cabinet. No doubt a gift from his mom, Eloise, who loved a good filing cabinet. One student contributed a piece of wide-ruled notebook paper titled Mr. Trussell's Report Card. Mr. Trussell received an A+ in behavior, teaching skills, niceness, understanding, and organization. The student gave him a B+ for awareness, but an A+ overall. Another student described Mr. Trussell saying, "He is firm but understanding. He is not harsh and not too easy. In other words, just right." Years later, when Ray Middle School closed in 2013, many community members and former staff gathered for the final farewell. A Plain Dealer article reported Dave Trussell, a retired teacher of the school and a board member, provided students with some advice. He said, "Take this, your Ray Middle School experience, to your new destination and grow," he said. "The best is yet to come." I imagine if our dad was here today, he would first thank his teaching family and the committee for this honor and encourage everyone to look to the future of Berea City Schools. The best is yet to come. Thank you.
Mr. Trussell was my 6th grade English teacher. I remember my mom went to the 2nd semester conferences and came home and said, "Mr. Trussell thinks that your handwriting needs some work, and he's given me this writing handbook for you to complete over the summer, and he expects it back on the first day of school." I spent a lot of that summer upset at your dad. But he was a great teacher. Our final inductee this evening is also being inducted posthumously. Dell Verest was born on March 15th, 1947 in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. He married his wife Cheryl in 1969. Dell enlisted in the U.S. Air Force in 1966, serving his country for 22 years while he and Cheryl raised their 3 children, Michael Joseph Sr., Robert Dwayne, and Julie Lynn. In 1968, Dell was promoted to sergeant while being stationed in Thailand. He was an award-winning jet engine mechanic and a member of the Strategic Air Command specializing in KC-135 air refueling tankers. Dell retired from the Air Force in 1988 as a master sergeant. After retiring from the military, Dell served more than a decade with the Berea City School Districts after settling his family in Berea. In his spare time, Dell was a very talented carpenter and an accomplished hot rod enthusiast. He and Cheryl, who also had a fulfilling career with BCSD, have inspired generations of public service as their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren continue their legacy. His son, Rob Verest, and his granddaughter, Mrs. Christina Cilem, will accept the award on his behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rob Verest and Mrs. Christina Cilem.
Thank you, everyone, and I'm happy to accept this award on behalf of my papa, Dell Verest. I knew him as Papa, and he passed in 2002 when I was pretty young. I was going into 6th grade. So a lot of my memories of him have actually come from a lot of the support staff at Berea City Schools. So as Mr. Draves mentioned, my Papa was in the Air Force for 22 years and eventually came to Berea and settled and raised his family here. My Uncle Rob, my dad Mike, and Aunt Julie. And they all graduated from Berea City Schools. And I remember I went to Brook Park Memorial Elementary, and my grandma worked there at the time. And there's no mentioning Dell without mentioning my grandma, Cheryl, as well. They were two peas in a pod and supported each other all through their life and through their work with Berea City Schools. And I fondly remember a lot of the staff always knew me everywhere I went. And sometimes at home I would be warned about that. Like, people know your last name, where you're going, but you need to be careful what you say. Don't share everything around the dinner table. But I found, for the most part, that the staff that came up to me was wonderfully supportive. After both of my grandparents passed, I remember a lot of staff coming to their funerals and even touching base with me afterward often, seeing how I was doing, even folks that were not my direct teachers, but people that just knew my grandparents so well and just enjoyed the connections they had. They had a lot of care for their community, both Dell and Cheryl, and took a lot of pride in all of the work that they did. And they touched a lot of folks, and as Mr. Draves also mentioned, inspired some generations of public service. That's something that was instilled into their children and their grandchildren and carries on. So I know if they were both here, they would be very proud to accept this award, and so are we all on their behalf. Do you want to close it out?
I just want to say thanks for the kind words. This would have meant the world to him.
At this time, we'd like all the inductees tonight to come forward for one big group picture. If you can all come up. See if we can get you all in. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in celebrating the 2024 inductees to the Berea City School District's Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame.